So this week's parsha is from Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 18, and it's called Shoftim, which means judges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
Not to be not to be confused with the word to condemn. In English, there's sort of an association between to judge and to condemn.
okay, is there a separate word for that in Hebrew?
There can be, yeah. But shofet just means to judge, not necessarily condemn. That's all.
Okay, so Shoftim, which means judges, and then Veshotrim, right? Is that okay? Shoftim Veshotrim, and let's see. I know that the interpretation for Shotrim is officers. Well,
Right.
Okay. What kind of officers does that mean?
These are enforcers of the law.
Okay, so kind of like
This is not officers in the sense of like one who holds office in some political. Go ahead.
It's like the judicial Shoftim, like the judicial branch, and the So
this is the branch that police fulfill.
Yeah. What's it called again? What are I'm sorry, I'm terrible with politics. Fine, you're not going to tell me.
I should know myself. I can't remember. I just made coffee.
It hasn't kicked in yet, right? Okay.
I haven't even drunk a sip yet. It's too hot.
So police fall under the executive branch.
But that would make sense because his function is chief of state.
Okay. Okay. The police are his hands and feet, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're law enforcers.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the Sharia, like enforcers of Sharia in Afghanistan.
Okay, let's not go there. Okay. Shoftim v'shotrim, judges and officers.
And this is the regular word used for police in modern Hebrew. Just that you know.
Okay.
Yeah, if you know this word, you know the word for police in Israel.
Okay. Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha make for yourselves.
Literally give.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that this is more like Natan, but
it is Natan.
But I know that it's translated as make for yourselves.
Establish for yourselves, whatever.
But it is the same.
Provide for yourselves.
But the root, it begins with a nun, right?
Yeah.
It just changed it to it.
Right.
Okay.
That change means something here. That makes it one type and not another.
Oh, what kind of type?
Not perfect.
Okay. Imperfect. Okay. Got it. Titen lecha, give to yourselves or establish for yourselves.
Right.
Bechol sharecha, in all your gates.
Right. And that insinuates different communities.
Okay. Each community.
Right. As opposed to just one single place, which is something that's commonly overlooked not only among Christians but also among Jews, even Orthodox Jews, that there wasn't just the Sanhedrin, there wasn't just the Great Sanhedrin.
There's local Sanhedrins.
Right, and even on the Temple Mount there was more than one Sanhedrin.
Why?
Well, let's not get carried away.
Come on, you don't know.
That should be like a separate video. Like we have to look into those laws.
Oh.
But it'll get carried away here. But basically, not all the Sanhedrins on the Temple Mount dealt with executions and legislation. It's interesting because it's almost like parallel to like the three branches of government.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Okay.
How interesting.
Okay. Asher that Adonai, Hashem, Lahecha, your God, Noten Lecha.
Here we have it again. What's odd about noten?
Nothing.
Well, in the same verse we have T10, which is the imperfect tense, right? And Natan is perfect tense. So here we suddenly have noten. Where's that coming from? Right? So again, it's not.
They're both imperfect. They both kind of mean the same thing. Is that what you're saying?
They do mean the same thing, but T10 is imperfect. Noten is not imperfect. I don't know what it's called. It's just another example of biblical grammar not strictly being only perfect and imperfect.
Is this not imperfect? This is imperfect, right?
No, it's not.
What is it then? How would you translate this?
If you want that to be imperfect, it would be yiten. Yiten.
Okay, then what is this?
Well, in modern Hebrew, that's the present tense. I've mentioned before, like this isn't the first time we've encountered specifically this word, but there are also other words where they seem to sort of break the rule that there's only perfect and imperfect.
Okay.
Which is supposedly one of the innovations of modern Hebrew, but I'm not certain how much of an innovation it is. It may be kind of like using she instead of asher, which it's a phenomenon also in biblical Hebrew, but just more rare.
Okay. Noten lecha gives you, Hashem gives you, lishvatecha. I know that this means to your tribes.
Good. And yeah.
But I don't see how that is because I thought that tribes was matot.
It is, but this is the more commonly known term for tribe.
Oh, right. Okay. So matot means staffs, right?
Right. Well, this also kind of has the same meaning as staff. They both mean staff. Like in Psalm 23, the famous psalm, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. In Hebrew is shivtecha umish'antecha, shivtecha, like shevet. Same word.
Oh, this is related to that also?
It's not related to the same word you said before, but it's related to the word for rod that's translated as rod in Psalm 23.
Okay.
Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Shivtecha umish'antecha.
Okay. So there's basically two ways of what is the difference? What does the main difference between matot and how do you
matot? It's like a scepter maybe, and then this is more like a staff. I mean, they're both long things. It's the same imagery.
Okay. Sure. Okay.
I guess there's a nuance difference.
Okay.
I know. So in Psalm 23, Shiftecha Mish'antecha, Shiftecha is together with Mish'antecha. Mish'antecha, which is translated as staff, it's from the word Lihisha'en, which is to lean on. Ani Mish'an, like I'm leaning on or relying on something. So staff is Mish'an in the sense of like a support, like for walking, to help you walk. Whereas Shevet, which is one of the two words for tribe, Shevet may be more like a shepherd's staff, even though it's being translated not as staff in Psalm 23. It may be more like a shepherd's staff, which is used for leading a herd. And matot may be coming from more like scepter, having more to do with rulership. I'm guessing. I'm looking for a distinction between the two.
Okay. So vishaftu, and they shall judge, and
Good.
that is related to this word right here, shoftim.
That's right. And it's only they shall judge because of the vav.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I don't know. Okay. And they shall judge because of the vav. Oh, you're saying that without the vav, it would be they judged.
Right.
Right. Yes. Okay. Et ha'am, the people. Mishpat tzedek, with righteous judgment.
Yep.
Okay, and so this is one of the verses in this Torah portion that actually speak of the formation of a court to establish laws and rulings for
legislation, basically.
for Israel. Yes. Okay.
And God has given them that authority into their hands, but they're supposed to strive for righteous judgment.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know that they say that that the last Sanhedrin was, during the Second Temple, but I mean, and I know that the Israeli government right now is a secular one, right?
Correct.
But if we were to reestablish a Torah-based government, we would have to set up judges again, right?
We would, but you could do it in a way without it having the authority from the Torah. Like, you could have, theoretically speaking, a more Torah-based government in modern Israel without reestablishing the Sanhedrin, in the sense that it will be enforced by, it could be like a quasi-religious, quasi-secular government, which it already is, but it's more secular than religious, to be frank, even though some people try to make it out to be something that it's not. But
why the prohibition? Why the prohibition of reinstating an actual Sanhedrin?
There is no prohibition. Who prohibits?
I don't know.
Nobody prohibits. It's just that it's not being done.
Why isn't it being done?
Fact of the matter is, it's not being done because, we can. Okay. Fact of the matter is, it's not being done because, one, the vast majority of the Jewish people, whether moderately observant or strictly observant, don't really know and appreciate the importance of it. And two, because the religious leadership that do know the importance of it, and I'm not certain at all that most of the leadership even does, but those that do, and certainly many of them do know the importance of it, are either unwilling to relinquish their own perceived authority over their disciples or communities, or maybe they are willing to do it, but you can't do it alone. It requires the majority. It requires the majority of scholars in the land of Israel to decide to agree to do it, and they don't. They don't even really care currently, even in the Orthodox world.
Okay. And
what do I mean by that? Go ahead.
What about the Nascent Sanhedrin?
Nascent Sanhedrin, right?
Nascent?
Most of the.
Okay.
However you say it. Most of the people on that, I attended several of their meetings, especially in the first few years that they started, and they really, I observed what was going on. There are some real scholars that were among them, but most of them were people that have very little knowledge about the most basic aspects of historical halachic Judaism. They may know a lot of information, but most of their information that they know is like later customs and Kabbalistic ideas. And that's not really a scholar, first and foremost.
And that's not the function of the Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin was supposed to focus on Jewish law, halakha, right?
Right. Well, they did deal with Jewish law, but they were basically trying to deal with Jewish law while restricted to the framework of basically the Shulchan Aruch as it's normally interpreted in our times. And the Sanhedrin is not bound by the Shulchan Aruch.
Okay. Well, but I guess it's considered safe that way because that has become the standard in Judaism now.
Even though it's not.
Even though
it's standard only in word, not in practice.
Okay.
But the point is that the Shulchan Aruch is it's unthorough. There are whole tractates of the Talmud that are not covered by the Shulchan Aruch. And also there are overt errors in the Shulchan Aruch. Yosef Karo made simply because he's a human and he made mistakes, but undeniable mistakes. they're only deniable mistakes to rabbis and religious Jews who hold the idea of das Torah. Literally means Torah knowledge, dat Torah, but it's a concept. So if someone refers to das Torah in a religious context, especially in the Haredi world, don't take it at face value because it's an actual theological concept for them. It's the idea that rabbis don't make mistakes, and if there's a perceived mistake, it's not really a mistake, and God wanted that perceived mistake to take place. It's extremely irrational and antithetical to Talmudic tradition.
Oh, that's interesting. What is it called again?
Das Torah. It's usually called Das Torah in the Ashkenazi pronunciation, but it's dat Torah, and the knowledge of Torah. But it's a concept again. It's
okay. So, but you're saying that Talmudic Judaism is really opposed to that idea?
Historically, yeah.
And why do you say that? I'm gonna agree. It sounds right, but
because the Talmud itself is full of argumentation and disputes and disagreements and and even acknowledgement. There's even whole sections of the Talmud that deal with what you do. There's a whole commandment. There's basically denial of the Torah itself, because the Torah itself, one of the 613 commandments, is what sacrifices to be done when the eyes of the community make a mistake.
When
the eyes of the community. And the Talmud interprets that to be in reference to the Sanhedrin, to the Jewish legislative body.
Oh, okay. So
that's one of the 613 commands. The Torah itself admits it. To deny this is either extreme ignorance or just rejection of the Torah.
The Torah is saying that I've appointed these judges, this court to you, these elders to you, but they might make a mistake. If they do, you should do this to rectify it.
That court itself has to make a certain sacrifice, right?
What is this based on? What verse?
I remember. Do a search for eyes of the community. Here, yeah. So they understood the assembly to be in reference to the Sanhedrin. Or perhaps like all of Israel is sinning because of a mistake of the Sanhedrin.
Okay, do you think this is the...
That's the verse, for sure.
And if the whole congregation of Israel shall err, the thing being hid from the eyes of the assembly...
because something was hidden from the eyes of the assembly.
Because, okay. And do any of the things which the Lord hath commanded not to be done, and are guilty, then do such and such. When the sin wherein they have sinned is known, then the assembly shall, the Sanhedrin, the court, right, shall offer a young bullock for sin offering and bring it before the tent of meeting. So.
And the elders of the congregation, that's the Sanhedrin.
So at first they didn't know.
Right.
Then, okay. Oh, and the elders of the congregation shall lay their hands upon the head of the bullock before the Lord. Okay. So that is the interpretation from the Talmud of what this.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
There's a whole body of laws regarding this. You'll just look up Mishneh Torah on Chabad, and you will, you want to make sure you look up the Mishneh Torah. That's probably under classic text, yeah. And then you want to go to Sefer Mishpatim. No, Korbanot. There you go. And it's Shegagot. You see? Shegagot. And now it's going to be chapter 12. And you can read this at your own leisure.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
And you're welcome.
All right.
And just remember that these laws, the Chabad translation is not always the best, but it's better than nothing, so. Also, the Hebrew text that they use is not the best.
For the Mishneh Torah?
Yeah. Okay. They use a very inaccurate text. But it's still better than nothing.
Okay. Maybe it was the free version that was available for them to put online.
Maybe.
Okay. So the second part of the same theme that we're talking about is found in in verse 8, right? Starting in verse 8?
Mm-hmm.
17 verse 8. Okay, so matter eludes you in judgment, between blood and blood, between judgment and judgment, or between legion and legion, words of dispute in your cities, then you shall rise and go up to the place the Lord your God chooses, and you shall come to the. Okay, let's do that first.
So the word they're translating as elude is literally, it's like too difficult or it's too lofty. Yipaleh is from the word like exceptional or wondrous.
But almost every verse in the Torah, not every verse, but many verses in the Torah, I mean, people have different opinions.
Absolutely. That just proves the point.
Yeah.
Even in the Sanhedrin, they have different opinions. The difference is that they do it in a democratic way, democratic within the context of the Sanhedrin.
Yeah. Even, I mean, yes, both Jews and Christians debate on various verses of
Yeah,
and what
absolutely. It's normal,
yeah.
especially if you have thinking people. The only people that are not going to have a different view are people who either don't care or don't think.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfectly valid to have different views. You can have two people who are equally rational and equally intellectually honest, and they can understand and have different views on a given passage. But there's a difference between two people who have a substantially higher level of knowledge about the text and the context, and those two individuals having such disputes, and two people who have little to no knowledge of the context and the underlying text. Like, there's a difference between people who know Hebrew and people who don't know Hebrew. There's a difference between people who know biblical Hebrew very well and someone who only knows modern Hebrew. There's a difference between people who know biblical Hebrew and Aramaic and other Semitic languages and someone who only knows biblical Hebrew.
And
because, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and the judges that were appointed were the elders, were the learned, were the scholars,
right, right,
in the community.
The great Sanhedrin, they're supposed to receive judges from the lower courts. So the judges in lower courts from smaller towns basically graduate up to the great Sanhedrin.
Yeah. So, and this is basically the legal system of Israel.
Yep, Israel has a legal system.
And it's based on these among many other verses.
Right.
Okay. So, ki yipale. Sorry. Ki yipale. Ki. Okay, I've decided I want to learn biblical Hebrew the authentic way. Because I already know how to pronounce these letters the more modern way.
You do, and you do it very well.
Okay. So, ki yipale. Is that good? Actually, it's ki yipole.
That's right. Very good. But I would tell you, you want to be able to preserve both in your brain. So choose certain situations where you'll use biblical Hebrew pronunciation and situations where you'll use the modern. That way you'll be maintaining both.
Well, when I'm with you, I want to do it the authentic way because I have you to correct me.
All right.
Yeah. But yes, I understand. I think because I already know the other way.
All right. Well, I'm not going to do it too much. Only if slowly. No.
Correct me every single time. Every single letter.
Notice the dagesh in words that are not beged kefet.
Okay. And that's when you elongate the syllable. Okay. So yipole, which means. So I know the translation is if this is the if part, right?
Right.
Or when.
Right.
And this one is translated, there arise a matter too hard, but I think that's too.
It's not literally hard. It's like it's wondrous, but like it's overwhelming or too difficult. It is hard, but that's not what it literally means.
What does this exactly mean, though? What is it exactly?
The same word is used for saying that something is like wondrous. It's something that's kind of like it's beyond your grasp.
Okay. So if if something is wondrous.
And by the way, this isn't reference. This is another thing that's, I don't expect you to take my word for it, but it's something that I've learned just from reading the way that biblical passages are quoted in rabbinic text. Many passages of biblical text were understood historically by the Jewish people to be messages to the lower courts, not necessarily to everyday individuals. Although the Torah is for everyday individuals, but for example, this verse, when it says if something's too difficult for you, the you it's talking about are the lower courts.
Why do you say that? Oh, because of the context of the
They're
verse.
the ones who are concerned with matters of judgment.
Yes.
Your everyday person is not like, that's not his place to make judgments. Like, you don't, that would be vigilantism.
And it also says in your courts, well, I thought it did, but not in this.
Bish'arecha.
Oh, that's in your gates. Huh?
Right. And sometimes gates is used synonymously with courts, by the way.
Oh, yes. It's because of this context of the verse, because it says, you know, that there shall be 2 or 3 witnesses. By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall the one liable to death be put to death. But of course, who is in charge of listening to these witnesses?
Exactly. You don't just randomly have 2 people on the street say, oh, we both agree that we saw this and we both agree he should be put to death, so let's put him to death.
Right.
That's not the way it works.
Right.
Unless you want an ISIS civilization.
Which the Torah does not.
No.
promote.
I mean, it's certainly, to be frank, that if it's over an unwilling society, the Torah would be very harsh, perhaps even brutal, the first generation or so, for sure. But it's not in the ISIS way. It should not be like there's no precedence or basis for that in Jewish literature.
And according to Torah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, in the greater context of the Torah, there's appointed elders,
absolutely,
judges who oversee these types of judgments.
Yep.
It's not just up to.
It's not vigilantism.
3 common Israelites.
Right.
To
you have to have someone with authority has to determine that these are valid witnesses.
Yes. Okay. So yes. So then I do agree with you. It makes perfect sense what you just said. Okay. Where were we? Mimcha. Mim. Oh, it's you pronounce. Oh, because of the dagesh right here. Okay, so mimcha. Okay.
Vavar.
This is from you. Or for you. It's
from, never for.
Okay. So when something from you is very wondrous or is wondrous. Confusing.
Yeah, it eludes you. I think elude is a good translation.
Okay, so when something elusive comes from you, or whatever,
it's too elusive for you.
Okay, when something is too elusive for you, the thing, or a thing,
the matter,
davar. Okay, the matter. Lamishpat. To judge.
For judgment.
Okay, for judgment. Okay. Ben dam ledam. Between.
So literally it's between, but between is one of the most common ways of saying whether, as in whether this or that.
And so this is blood to blood, literally.
Right. So whether matters of blood. In English, you wouldn't naturally say whether matters of blood to blood and so forth. You would say whether matters of blood and then the next topic.
Why does it say blood to blood?
That's just the way that Hebrew functions.
Okay. Oh, and it does it for the next phrase too.
Right, it'll do it for all of them. And modern Hebrew does this as well.
Oh, I think it's saying, isn't it saying like blood against blood or plea? And this one is
between matters of blood, between matters of laws or verdicts, between matters of See, in English, you don't have to say it twice. You could if you want to, but it sounds unnecessarily redundant,
Mhm.
which in itself is redundant to say unnecessarily.
True. Okay, Bain Din Ledin. Between this Din is judgment, right? Is another word.
So, din is used sometimes in the sense of a verdict.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I know the one translation that I have, it says plea.
Sure.
Between plea to plea, but
Sure.
a Beit Din is a house of judgment.
Right. You can also translate it as law, but it's kind of it depends on the context.
What is the more like literal?
I would say legal decision.
Okay. Okay, so basically it's saying with the matters of blood, refers to murder or death, right?
That is an interpretation. This just shows the need for such a thing, for such a system. It could also be in reference to menstrual blood.
Oh, okay. I doubt it.
Why? That's a big issue in the Bible.
Okay, so maybe
the
just
Torah.
anything related to blood?
Why not?
Okay.
Matters of blood.
All right. Sure.
There's more than one matter regarding blood.
Okay. Bain Din Ledin, matters of judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Uvein nega la nega.
Mm-hmm. Are you? That sounds like a. I've never noticed this before. It sounds like the gangster way of saying a certain word.
I didn't say that. Okay, nega la nega.
This is where you want to pronounce it in the proper way, in ancient Hebrew. Nera la nera.
How is that the proper way?
Because there's no dagesh in the gimel, and ayin should be pronounced.
Okay, teach me that.
Gimel with a dot inside is g.
Uh-huh.
With no dot, it's like kind of like the Parisian R.
Okay.
Yeah, so nera. Ayin is a.
Nera.
Yeah, a.
What? Do ayin again?
It's like you're about to choke. Nera. Nera lo nera.
Okay. Wait.
That's it. That's it.
Nega la nega.
Yeah.
Is that good?
That's good. Very good.
I feel so weird doing that. Okay. Nega la nega.
Yeah, the deeper you can get the ayin, the better, especially when you're starting.
Nega la nega.
Yep.
But the accent is on ne.
Right. Nera.
La nega.
Yeah.
Is that good? Okay. I feel too masculine saying that.
It's a very masculine language. This is probably one of the hard. This is like one of the worst words to begin that pronunciation with. Most words don't have so much.
Okay.
Go ahead. All right. So nera.
Yeah.
It means like a It could be an injury, but here it's usually understood to be in reference to like the what do you call it? Like the leprosy type issues, the weird skin ailments that they had.
It's okay. So what would you say it could be? What you said before, it could be
Any sort of injury.
Okay, or illness.
Sure.
Okay.
But it's the Torah usually deals with what's often translated as leprosy, though there's clear indication that it's not normal leprosy, whatever it is.
Okay. In my notes I have stroke, but I was thinking like I wasn't sure what kind of stroke that meant. I was thinking
it's because the word makes you think you're about to have a stroke. Nera.
You're silly. Okay. Dibre.
Divre.
Sorry. Divre rivot.
Mm-hmm.
Matters of or things of.
Right.
Rivot.
This is about as universal as it can get. This is basically saying anything else that's a matter of dispute.
Anything else? What? I'm sorry.
That's disputed. Riv means an argument or dispute. Something debated.
You're saying this is the catch-all phrase.
Yeah, it is the catch-all phrase.
And this is this. Okay, so that actually answers the question that I was going to ask, which was, I was going to say, some people say, oh, the Sanhedrin only had the authority to judge between legal disputes, but this actually says no, anything that's controversial,
Exactly.
basically.
Yep.
And this dam ladam, that could mean any kind of halakhic issue that has to do with blood,
Yep.
right? And then
You also have several examples throughout the Tanakh which show application of some sort of authority with regard to interpreting matters that extend beyond things that are necessarily called for by the straightforward text of the Torah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Bish'are. Okay. Bish'arecha.
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 Ah.
Bish'arecha.
Yeah.
Bish'arecha.
That's good.
Bish'arecha.
Yeah, the deeper the better.
What do you mean deep? I don't understand what you mean by deep.
It should come from not the back of your mouth, but like in your throat. Like yeah, like a doctor's pressing on the back of your tongue with one of those wooden spoon things, and he says, "Say like you're almost gonna gag."
Okay.
Really, that's.
Tend to choke and gag when you say ayin.
Yeah, that's how you learn.
Bish'arecha.
That's pretty good.
In your gates.
Qamta.
This right here?
Yeah.
No, it's
Khof is in the back of your throat also. It's a K made further back.
Oh, the qamta.
Yeah, the qamta.
The qamta.
Yeah.
Accent is on ta.
That's right.
Okay. The qamta.
Ta.
And you arise?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Where? Huh?
Where?
Okay. You took me seriously. Okay. The alita.
That's right. Wa alita.
The alita. And this is similar to this, right? Okay, it was I know the difference. The kamta, the alita.
Mm-hmm.
This one is an ascend. This is when you get up and ascend.
That's right.
When you get up,
arise and ascend.
Okay, arise and ascend. El hamakom.
Good.
El hamakom.
Great. You do that really well. That particular little kluf, you're doing really well.
Baruch Hashem.
It's harder for me, for some reason.
El hamakom, which is to the place.
Mm-hmm.
I'll share that. Yivchar.
Har.
You're correcting my resh.
Het. Yivchar.
What's the difference between what you are doing and what I did?
Okay, so the normative pronunciation
is just
it's the same as chaf.
Uh-huh.
But this is actually closer to an H sound. It's not an H sound, but if you're going to make a mistake, it should really be more of an H.
Okay. Yivchar.
Yeah, you're just constricting the muscles of your throat while you make the H.
Okay. Yivchar.
Good.
Yivchar. Yivchar Adonai Elohecha bo.
Mm-hmm.
Elohecha. Yeah?
Cha. That's a chaf.
Oh, sorry. You were talking about the
Het.
Het. Okay. Elohecha bo. This is like bachar.
Mm-hmm. And it's good, especially with this particular word, because there's another word spelled with a kaf, and it means something completely different, and it could lead to confusion if you're not super familiar with Hebrew already.
Yivchar.
Like bachur.
Mm-hmm.
Like firstborn.
Okay.
Bechir. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yivhar,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yivhar Adonai Elohecha bo. That chooses Hashem, your God.
So what is the yud in Yivhar? What does the yud mean?
Oh, it's imperfect?
That's right. Masculine, feminine, singular, plural.
Singular, masculine.
Good. So he shall.
Well, I only know that because Adonai Elohecha is right after.
All right. So yud at the beginning for imperfect, it means masculine.
And
then
Tav is feminine.
That's right, at the beginning of the word. And because there's no u at the end, so you know it's masculine singular.
Okay. Yes. All right. Okay.
So this is referring to, okay, so in the Orthodox world, this is an important verse because the Orthodox world often has a very shallow justification for, basically, if you do anything that falls out of line with what their local community does or what the individual is aware of, even if you have 100% basis for that in Jewish texts, they will basically quote this verse and they'll say you're supposed to do what the majority does or what the majority of rabbis do.
Majority? Where does it say that? There's no majority here.
Right, but it is implied. The majority is implied. If you have a court, the whole purpose of a court, the only way it can function is if there's agreement by the majority.
Oh, but that's of the court, though,
right.
Not the majority of.
Absolutely, not the majority of the populace.
Okay, yeah.
But even with the court, that's one thing I tell them. First of all, I tell them, yeah, it's only in the context of the court. And then they'll say something silly like, well, all the rabbis today, they're like a court. They'll try to say there's some correlation, even though they're not an actual court. But that's when you quote the part, in the place which the Lord your God will choose. So it's not just that the judges made this decision, but that they made it in the place that the Lord your God chose.
Mm-hmm. And that is specifically talking about the
there's only one place,
the great Sanhedrin in Jerusalem, right?
That's right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what is I forgot the name for the Sanhedrin in Hebrew.
Beit Din HaGadol.
Beit Din HaGadol, yes, that's what it is. Okay. Continue. Uvata. Okay. Uvotha. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Uvotha, and you shall come. El ha-kohanim, to the priests. Haleviim.
Good.
And the Levites.
Mm-hmm.
Ve'el hashofet.
Mm-hmm.
Is it hashofet?
Hashofet.
Hashofet.
Mm-hmm.
Ve'el hashofet. And to the judge. Why? I've been wondering, why is this singular?
It's not only here. There are numerous places where the Hebrew text uses a singular, not because it's one person, but it's referring to the concept itself. Okay. Then you have to ask why in the previous two words they use plural. I don't know. But there are many places where the text will use a singular, but it means in general. Just like you, go ahead.
Do you think it could indicate that there will be one supreme judge over the?
No. Right. So like if you're looking at this one specific verse isolated from the rest of Hebrew literature, you can maybe read into that extra interpretation, but that's not the straightforward meaning. Straightforwardly, it's common in biblical Hebrew to use a singular form in reference to a whole category.
Okay.
But like if we're really looking like in the context of the Sanhedrin, trying to figure out how should the Sanhedrin function, they may look at that and say, that's why it's in singular and not in plural like Kohanim and Levim, because there should be also one judge presiding over the other, kind of like an Av Beit Din or a Nasi.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you could say Kohanim and Levim are in plural because you should have as many as possible, which is actually what it teaches in the Talmud, that even though you don't have to be a Kohen or a Levi to be part of the Sanhedrin, it's preferable, if at all possible, to have as many Kohanim and Levim as you can.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Because they sort of embody, they represent like the family of Moses. They have like a prestige.
And I think not only that, but the fact that, they're not to own land and their primary function.
Right. That's good. Woo! Girl.
Woo! What's good?
That's a good insight. I never thought about that.
Wait, what was my insight? I didn't complete my thought.
Well, you completed enough to impress me. Keep on. I'm sorry I interrupted.
I don't remember what I was going to say. What do you think I was going to say?
Because they couldn't own land, and their
primary function was to serve in the temple.
Right.
Their focus would have been on the well-being of the spiritual health of Israel.
Right, at least it's supposed to be.
Yeah, supposedly. I mean, so long as they're not taking bribes and,
Right. But yeah, they're already there and they're already available, so it's better to have them working than just sitting around eating all the excess meat from sacrifices.
Well, and they were not every single Levite was on duty or.
Correct. That's right. That's right. They had shifts.
Yeah. Okay.
Good job. Never thought about that.
Okay. Asher yiyeh, that will be bayamim in days, hahem, those.
Yeah,
Yes?
those days. Bayomim hahem.
Bayomim hahem.
Mm-hmm.
Vedorashta.
Good.
Vedorashta. Hold on. Okay, that's related to the word drash.
That is correct.
Inquire.
That's right.
Okay.
But not only that.
What? And you shall inquire.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what? No, okay, is that what you meant?
There's an extra implication.
And
it's in your merit that I'm noticing this. It gave me chills.
let's say that. What is it? Tell me. I don't know.
Okay, so it's clear that certain interpretations of rabbinic Judaism seem to go on it seems like a stretch, right? The straightforward text doesn't necessarily say all the some of their interpretations make sense to me personally, and others of their interpretations seem kind of like a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But when they seem like they're going on, like they're making a stretch to interpret a verse a certain way, it's not just randomly. It's because they saw a practical need for something, and they're trying to tie it into the text of the Torah.
I see
right?
that. I think that's an okay way to
So here, it could be viewed as even a commandment. Like this is like the endorsement of that. Like a drash.
I don't see the connection. I'm
To
sorry.
make a drash.
To make an inquiry. Oh, meaning like an application.
Right.
Of
the text.
Of Torah to a specific.
Do you know the term darash? Darash doesn't just mean to seek something. It's like you're looking for something. It's even the word for seeking.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that's what
You're not just looking at the text, but you're even seeking out some kind of concept.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Inquiring. You're asking for something specific. Right.
Yep.
You're looking for a specific answer to something.
Right. And by tying any new concepts into the text of the Torah, it also helps to remember those ideas. Mm-hmm. And to the masses, for better or worse, it gives extra weight or authority in their minds. Because not everybody's on the same playing field. I don't know if you know what I mean.
Not sure, but okay.
Along the same lines as to why there's a rabbinic prohibition regarding eating poultry, which that's a whole conversation in and of itself. But the idea behind it is that not that there's any dispute regarding poultry together with dairy products.
Mhm.
In rabbinic Judaism, there is no Torah prohibition against eating dairy products with poultry. No one in the Orthodox world holds that the Torah prohibits that.
Yes.
The idea is that it's rabbinically prohibited.
Yes.
Anyone who says, rabbinic Jews, they're so stupid, they think the Torah prohibits poultry with dairy products. No one not Hasidim, nobody.
Yeah, it's
But,
a fence law to keep.
Right. And it's a fence law for the Amei Aratzot, but they applied it across the board because you can't be telling, first of all, Amei Aratzot are people who aren't sufficiently learned. They're not, they don't know much. You can't make a law for the Amei Aratzot that they shouldn't eat poultry and dairy, because they may think otherwise that
it just seemed too similar to
right
other kinds of meat.
Because it may mislead someone else, but then say, for all the educated people, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and eat poultry and dairy in front of regular Joes.
That would be very insulting.
Right. It's a fact that some people are less learned or less intelligent even than other people, but that doesn't mean that it's productive or edifying to go smearing it in their faces,
Okay.
Yep. I mean, it's an uncomfortable truth, but it's true. Otherwise, we put people in 4th grade in university.
Okay.
Why are you so quiet?
Okay. V'darashta, and you will inquire.
Mm-hmm.
Vehigidu.
There's a dot in it, right?
Vehigidu.
Yeah. And there's no dot in the dalet, so it's the, like they.
What? Say that again? Oh, vehigidu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vehigidu.
Man, our internet connection is really good. You can hear every little thing that I say. Well. Huh?
Yeah, it is.
Vehigidu. This is related to the word Haggadah. Yes.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. So, and they shall tell you,
mm-hmm.
And they shall tell lecha to you, et devar, the thing hamishpat, the judgment, regarding the judgment. Mm-hmm. Can I say regarding the judgment, or yeah?
Yeah.
Of judgment, the word of judgment. They shall tell you the word of judgment.
That's right.
Okay.
By the way, this that word darashta, also in this verse, it could be understood in more than one way in reference to who is doing the darash. You can read it as the lower courts or their representative or whoever will go and inquire of the greater court, and the greater court will tell them.
But
that's probably how they're translating it.
Isn't this you?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, but hold on, and it says you shall inquire. So it's the lower courts that are inquiring of the greater courts, right?
Right.
Okay. What did you say?
That it could have a double meaning.
What's the double meaning?
The double meaning is because in the biblical text you'll often have plural, something in reference to a group, and then it'll just switch to singular. So even though that reading that I just gave you makes sense, but considering several other verses all over the place in the Bible where it flips back and forth from talking to the same person in singular and then talking to them in plural, you could read the same thing here. So you could have two interpretations of this.
Okay, but the most straightforward is it's still talking about...
Right, yeah.
Okay. Vesita?
That's right.
Ve'asitha.
Let's get even more down and gritty. Wa'asitha.
Okay. Wa'asitha. And you shall establish, or you shall do, you shall make. Or you shall do would be about the best.
Right, right.
Wa'asitha
Al.
al. No. Al, right?
Al.
Alpi. Alpi hadavar. You shall do according to the word of their mouth.
So alpi is an idiom for according to.
Right,
but you could you read into it regarding the mouth of the matter, or like the oral transmission of the matter. But
yes.
but alpi, it's, if you want to say literally, it's not literally, but it's an idiomatic grammatical, whatever you want to call it, that means according to. Alpi or lefi.
Okay. But it doesn't matter how you translate this word. It's basically still saying that you shall do according to according to what they judge, what they determine.
That's right, and it's in plural. Notice yagizu is plural. The yod at the end is plural. So it's not just one big rabbi saying,
okay,
"I'm the leader of the Jewish people. Do what I say."
It's the court.
Right.
It's the Beit Din Hagadol that is giving the matter.
Exactly.
Establishing the matter. Alpi hadavar asher. Is that okay? Asher.
Asher.
No, asher. Asher. Yagidu. Asher yagidu. That they tell lecha to you. Min hamakom. Min hamakom.
Good.
Hahu, from the place.
From that place. The hahu is emphasis, like from that specific place.
From that from excuse me. From the place that place, from that place. Which asher yivhar. Yes.
Yep.
Yivhar that shall choose Hashem veshamarta. Veshamarta.
You got the line under the sheen.
Veshamarta.
Veshamarta.
Oh, this is an extra emphasis. Okay, Veshamarta. 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 There we go.
La asaf.
What?
Next word. La.
What this one is, you shall keep. La. Okay. La asot. La asot. Yes.
That's right.
So la asof. Yes.
That's right.
La asof. And you shall keep. This is and you shall keep to do.
So I would say, and you should be careful to do, or be cautious.
Okay. Using this more idiomatically.
Right.
And you shall guard to do. Be careful to do. Kachol, according to all. Asher. So Yorucha.
Yeah, Yorucha.
Yorucha. Yorucha. Okay. That they inform.
Instruct.
It's
the same root for Torah.
Thank you. Oh, so okay. Yeah, so instruct would be better, or teach even. Okay. So yeah, this is very. Oh, here we go. This is the one. Okay, the way my friend taught me this. Alpi HaTorah. it means according to the mouth. Well, this is Torah Sheba Peh. This is where that part of where that idea
Right.
comes from.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because this word, I mean, al-pi is really one unit that functions as according to. But even that we know according to the oral transmission of the Hebrew language.
Ironic.
It's like the word even though in Hebrew, af al-pi, nose on my mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, if you don't learn even the idioms from the language, it won't make sense if you see even though. You'll translate it as nose on my mouth. What the heck does that mean?
Mm-hmm. So al-pi Torah, according to the word of the law, asher asher yorucha, according to the teaching, ve'al hamishpat.
So yorucha is a verb here.
According to what they teach.
Mm-hmm. According to the instruction that they teach, according to the Torah that they teach you. And clearly this is not 100% synonymous with Torah shebichtav. This is not the written Torah.
It's not at all, because in context, this is talking about the judgments that they give.
Right. And if that's just the written Torah, then why do you even need to go to them? It's already in the text.
Yeah. It's the matters of controversy that are
right. It's their authoritative decision as to how some matters should be resolved.
Regarding matters of blood, regarding matters of judgment, regarding matters of any controversy. That's what the previous verse basically said.
That's also what Jesus said.
You're talking about when he said, they sit in Moshe's seat, right?
That's right.
Therefore, do according to all they instruct, but just do not do according, basically, to their hypocrisy.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I love how anti-Semites, they seem to love that chapter more than any other chapter of the Bible, and yet they completely ignore the first few verses.
Was that in the beginning of the?
Yeah, Matthew 23.
Mm-hmm. Okay, of the Christian Bible.
That's right.
Okay. Sorry. Where were we? Where we were here? Did I? I didn't read that though.
No.
Where was I?
You got to Yorucha.
Where is that? Right here. Okay.
Yeah. And also you see a distinction between the Torah that they teach you and the Mishpat. So Mishpat is more, again, it's like the verdict. It's a decision.
Oh, okay. So this is the Torah that they, so Al-Pi Torah Asher Yorucha, this is according to the Torah, the teaching that they teach you.
Some teaching, some new idea.
And then Va'al HaMishpatim, and then the judgment based on that teaching, right?
Right. Like the Torah would be whether, for a random example, okay?
The reasoning behind it, maybe?
So the Torah would be like, if you have some dispute regarding theft, right? I can't recall what the penalty is for theft. Or we could also say for breaking Shabbat, right? Someone says, that's a Torah violation of Shabbat, and someone else says it's not. And the implication is that it would be a death sentence, right? So if you have that dispute, then the Torah is their decision as to whether or not this is category. Then the Mishpat would be whether or not the person's deemed guilty, not like they get a penalty of death or they have to make a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. The actual thing that should be carried out.
Right. One is legislative and the other is judicial.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Judgment is probably judicial.
Mm-hmm. And HaTorah would also be part of the reasoning behind it, right? That.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Asher Yomeru, I would pronounce that that mem, yes?
Yeah, that's right. Because you mean the Shema, because there's a Olam before it.
Okay, yes, the Shiva. Yomeru, Asher Yomeru. Sorry, according that they say. Asher Yomeru. Lecha, to you. Ta'aseh. Ta'aseh.
Ta'aseh.
Ta'aseh. Ta'aseh. Ta'aseh. Ta'aseh. You shall do.
That's right.
Lo thasur. You shall do. No. Do not turn away from it.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. Do not turn away.
Kol hakavod.
Min hadavar, from the word. Asher yagidu. That they tell lecha, to you. Yamin. Right.
That's right.
Right. Ush.
That's Arabic.
Huh?
If you do shah here, it'll be an Arabic word.
Oh, sorry. Usmeol.
Small. You know not to pronounce the aleph here because there's no vowel associated with the aleph.
Okay. Usmol.
Right.
Right or left. Do not divert from what they say, neither to the right nor the left.
Right.
Okay. So this is a very interesting contrast to one of the things that was said in last week's Torah portion, which says, do not add to this Torah, right? But this is specifically saying, do according to their Torah, which
right. And if you remove this from the Torah, then you have removed from the written Torah.
Right. So when it says do not add to the Torah, it's talking about do not manipulate or change the written Torah, right?
Exactly.
But it's not trying to say that you cannot have an oral Torah or,
Absolutely. It's ridiculous because that itself, to deny that is to remove from the written Torah.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. And then there's one more, I think. This one right here. Wait, sorry, let me just read this English. Oh, so this gives the weight of the judgments. It says, and the man who acts intentionally not obeying the Kohen who stands there to serve the Lord your God, or the judge, that man shall die, and you shall abolish evil from Israel. So they're basically a rebel if they don't listen to them.
And also it's interesting that here suddenly even Kohen becomes singular, whereas plural.
Mm-hmm. Even though up here it was plural.
Right. And so now what before was a apparently singular judge is just plural, an otherwise plural Kohanim, both being in servers.
So we shouldn't look into those specific differences too much. And even in English, we do things like that too. Okay, so this is not part of this week's Torah portion, but it's related to it, right?
Okay.
Yes, it is related, right? So I took the heads of your tribes, men wise and well known, and I made them heads over you, leaders of over thousands, leaders of hundreds. So this is also it's also, these were also the judges of the local tribes, leaders, right?
Yep.
They were to hear it just like. Was this different, or
it says it explicitly. I commanded your judges at that time.
It's this exact same pattern, right? That it's repeating.
Yep.
Because I know, I think the Karaite argument for this is something like, that was just for Moshe and his time.
That's ridiculous. Because you have almost verbatim the same exact passage applied, I think it was by Yehoshaphat, much later in biblical times, with even more elaboration on it. In fact, I really want you to see that passage. I don't know if you've seen it. I never heard anyone quote it even. I found it myself, and I can't remember exactly where it's at, but I can help you find it if you want to find it.
Okay, sure. Yes.
So go to like some Bible search thing.
Uh-huh.
If you can limit the search to First and Second Chronicles.
Oh, I don't think I can do that here, but I think I can do that.
Bible Gateway.
Like, for sure. Okay, and then you want me to limit it to...
You need to go study.
Huh? Study, okay.
At the top.
Okay, and then...
Keywords.
Okay.
Now scroll down. Search entire Bible. You want to select search from.
You said Chronicles?
Chronicles.
Okay. What version do you want me to
Try a few different. New King James Version, New American Standard Bible.
Let's do ASV first.
Okay. Let's see. Type in Judges and Jerusalem.
You want me to put the word "and"? No, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, that's it?
Yeah. Wow.
No, that's not what I wanted. Let's do the KJV.
Daniel shouldn't have come up. It needs to be just Chronicles.
It didn't, but
it's bad.
It didn't carry over the conditions of the...
Yeah, I think I noticed that before on here. It seems like Jerusalem may be mentioned in the verse before, so I'm not sure it's going to show up. So just do Judges. Just do Judges. There you go. We got 7.
Huh?
7 results?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, scroll down, down. I think it's 19.
Hmm?
Yeah. There you go.
And he set judges in the land throughout all the fenced cities of Judah, city by city, and said to the judges, "Take heed what you do, for ye judge not for man, but for the Lord who is with you in the judgment."
Ooh, you mean they're not just the traditions of man, even though they're man making up these stuff? I mean, you see, like, it's emphasizing the divine authority behind the adjudication. And also you see, even in the very big... Go ahead.
I was going to say, Hashem is basically saying, you're judging for me, right?
Right, you're acting
as...
on my behalf.
On my behalf, yeah.
Right, and you even see in verse 5 something which is not in the Torah, which is already, like, indicative of that authority. It's applying it, like, before from the Torah, you could see, like, from... Yeah, there may be different judges outside of the main judge, outside of the main court, right? You may have other smaller courts. But in verse 5, you see it restricted to fenced cities. Not just any little encampment, but specifically to fenced cities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you already have in the verse itself an extra thing, which is not, like an extra detail, which is, you're not going to find that in the Torah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, not this specific interpretation, right?
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think my husband was telling me that that there was some kind of law that one city couldn't have 2 courts.
Right.
Each city.
Lotit Godedu. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's from last week's parasha. All right, keep reading it.
Okay. This chapter?
Yeah.
Okay. 7.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore now let the fear of the Lord be upon you. Take heed and do it. For there is no iniquity with the Lord our God, no respect of persons, nor taking of gifts, Moreover, in Jerusalem did Jehoshaphat set of the Levites and of the priests and of the chief of the fathers of Israel for the judgment of the Lord and for controversies when they returned to Jerusalem. Okay.
And he charged them?
Oh, sorry. And he charged them, saying, Thus shall you do in the fear of the Lord faithfully and with a perfect heart. And what cause soever shall come to you of your brethren that dwell in your cities, between blood and blood, between law and commandment, statutes and judgments, you shall even warn them that they trespass not against the Lord. And so wrath come upon you and upon your brethren. This do, and you shall not trespass.
Right. And so here it even adds, instead of between din and din, it says between, I'm not sure what the Hebrew is here, but it's clearly two different Hebrew terms.
Law and commandment, statutes and judgments.
Right. So like they add, like this text is clearly interpreting din v'din in a very broad way.
Yeah, can we look that up in the Hebrew?
Of course.
Um,
And it's, I think, undeniably set in parallel to the passage we just read in Devarim.
okay, so v'chol riv.
So we can actually break this up into its parallel to the previous verse. The other one said divrei riva. And now this says chol riv. Any dispute. Just in case you weren't sure with what I was talking about, any dispute.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, 1 second. So because this is basically restating that verse in a way.
Right, in a more interpreted way. It's actually more explicitly broad.
Oh, this is great. Thank you for showing me this. V'chol riv, this means dispute, not
right.
Okay. V'chol riv, asher yavo, that comes.
Mm-hmm.
Alechem, to you, me'ahechem. Yes?
Good. Me'ahechem.
Me'ahechem.
Mm-hmm.
Accent on hem, right?
That's right, Miss Queen of Emphasis.
but there's this. This is
Me'ahechem.
me'ahechem.
Mm-hmm.
Me'ahechem.
Mm-hmm.
Me'ahechem. What does that mean? That means from your brothers.
That's right.
Hayoshvim, that live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right?
That's right. Who dwell.
The ones who dwell. Okay. Be'arechem.
I'm sorry, be'arechem.
Be'arechem. No, be'arechem. In your cities.
Their cities.
Their cities? Okay. Be'arechem. Bein dam ledam. That's the light of blood again. Bein Torah. Oh, between Bein Torah. Bein Torah.
That means wall.
Lemitzvah. Between Torah to.
And. You just want to do and instead of the two.
Whether Torah or commandment, right? Lechukim. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Lechukim.
Hukim.
Lechukim. That's hard because you've got the chaf.
The gesh, yeah.
So say that again.
Lechukim.
Lechukim. Is that better?
Yeah, very good.
To the statutes. Ul mishpotim.
Tim.
Huh?
Mishpotim.
Why?
Satet.
It. Ul mishpotim.
Yeah. Yep.
It's more forward.
It's
right?
further back. Mishpotim.
Oh,
you
sorry.
bend your tongue, and the tip of your tongue should be further to the arch in the roof of your mouth.
Oh, ul mishpatim.
Yeah, that was good.
Ul mishpatim. Ul mishpatim. Maybe I don't want to do this.
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. Judgments.
No, what we should do is to do this when it's not broadcasted.
No, it's fine. I love being embarrassed.
You have supreme humility.
Okay, thank you, Baruch Hashem. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe, possibly. Or you could be subtly insulting me, but I'm
No,
so
not
humble
publicly.
that I am taking it very gracefully. Okay. Vehiz hartem,
Mm-hmm.
and you shall warn them.
Right, and this can also mean enlighten.
Oh, okay, interesting.
It's more literally enlighten. It's warn in a more, how do you say? I don't know how to say this. The meaning of it as to warn is more of an extension of the word's meaning.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
The root is like anciently it's the same as the root for sahar, which is like the bright light in the ark of Noah, or Sohoraim, like the bride of day, the noon.
Interesting. Uh-huh. Okay. So, and you shall enlighten them.
Mm-hmm.
You shall enlighten them. Below ye.
So here the aleph is pronounced because there's a shava under it. Yeah. Instead of yeshmu, it's yeshamu.
Yeshimu.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeshimu. Below Yeshimu. Ladonai. What's Yeshimu?
This is, remember what I told you about judgment doesn't necessarily mean condemn.
Mm-hmm.
So this means you shall not be condemned. More literally, you should not be found guilty.
Okay, because you have warned them or enlightened them.
Right.
Okay. Ladonai. V'haya ketsef.
Mm-hmm.
Or ketsef.
Kesef.
Ketsef. Why? Why are you doing it that way?
Kesef, because there's a thing under the kuf.
Oh, you're talking about the accent mark. Okay.
Yeah.
V'haya ketsef.
Ah, you were asking about the Saudi.
Maybe.
Yeah. So the Saudis was called an implosive S. So the same way that the tet is made further back in the roof of your mouth as opposed to closer to your teeth like a regular T, the same pattern between Saudi and Sin. Saul.
You're saying Sadi is not a TS?
Yeah, there should be none of the letters in Hebrew are supposed to be compound letters.
So it's Sadi.
Saudi, yeah.
Saudi.
That's it.
Saudi. Okay.
Yeah.
Kersif. Kersif. Is that right?
That's it. Yep.
Ke-
Takes a lot of. It's completely different from English.
the Hoyok Kersif.
Good. That was perfect.
Kersif. That's.
Try not to make it into an SH.
Kersif.
Saul.
I'm not trying to. Kersif.
That's good.
Alechem. Olechem. Olechem.
Huh? Alechem.
Olechem.
Yeah.
Olechem. It's chem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're gonna make me cough.
Yeah, you're using all these muscles in your throat that you never used before.
Okay. All right. The hoyok. Okay. What's cut?
That stuff means, there are several Hebrew words for anger. I'm not sure all the nuances and the differences between these words. I know that af, for example, it's a common word for anger, and that means nose. So it gives you like like how when someone gets angry, their nostrils might flare up. So that's af. Kesef, I'm not sure what it insinuates, but it means anger. And the only term that I know that's related to it means like froth or like foam. Foaming of the mouth.
Oh, interesting. So Hashem doesn't foam his mouth at you.
Right? That's probably what it means. Oh, so proud of myself. That's so
Right.
awesome. Right? That makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I don't know any better, so yeah.
Now, obviously, God doesn't froth at his mouth.
Oh. No,
What do you think I meant?
I'm just kidding. No, of course it's analogy.
Right. But yeah, because the same is true with nose, but we
Right.
describe af Hashem, like the anger. Wow, the Arabic word for violence is unf.
Okay.
I wonder if unf is related to af, because the Arabic word for af isn't af, but anf. That's so freaking cool.
I don't. You've totally lost me. I'm sorry.
That is so cool. See, this is why you need to learn as much as like the languages are related, even though they're not one and the same. But you can learn, especially when something may be otherwise unclear. You can learn from a related language.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you have a third or a second thing to compare it with.
That's so freaking awesome. Yeah. Okay, so now I learned why maybe chesef is the word for anger.
But it's my Hebrew lesson.
Yeah. So it's like, well, I'm drawing from the depths of my experience with Hebrew ice cream shops named Ketzef.
Oh, really? Is there?
Yeah, yeah,
That's a strange name for it.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Probably from what do you call it? Not foam, but like you put stuff on some ice cream, it's kind of foamy. You know what I'm referring? Whipped cream. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Probably because of the whipped cream.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so it's totally like foam, like this airy thing.
Well, you say it foams at the mouth, right?
I would, yeah. Okay. Ve'al achechem.
Ahechem.
Why? Ahechem.
Yeah, ahe. Right.
No, the accent mark's on chem.
I'm just sometimes when I say a word, I'm intentionally not emphasizing. This is not always the case. I do make mistakes, but it's not always a mistake. Sometimes it's to emphasize the particular letter that you need to plug in your battery.
Yeah, I know. So let's finish this verse.
All right. So. Al. Yeah. Good.
Go.
You'll speak to your husband this way if he ever makes you angry.
I feel like a Klingon. Okay.
I'm so sorry. I just got an image of like ancient Israelites as like brute cavemen.
That's anti-Semitic. Don't say that.
With Klingon foreheads.
Yeah, that's not.
But they're big brains though, so it's good.
But very violent and angry. No. And on your brothers. Ko ta'asun.
Ta'asun.
Ko ta'asun. Ta'asun. Do. Velo.
Wait, ko means thusly.
Thus do.
Yeah.
Right? Thus do. Velo the.
It's a sounded aleph.
The shamu.
The shamu.
The shamu.
Yeah.
The shamu.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay. So I'm gonna.
And notice the ta'asun.
Again, do not.
And they will not.
Do not trespass.
What?
Sorry. What does that mean?
Shamu means you will not be found guilty or you will not be condemned.
Okay.
And ta'asun, you notice the nun at the end?
Yeah.
So again, that's what I was telling you about before, that I had forgotten to look up the nun at the end for a plural. Remember a few weeks ago in the parashah, you had several of these?
Yes.
So here you have it again. And in the same exact sentence, you have it in one verb, but not in the very next verb.
Yeah. So it's just it must be just a, what's it called?
It's not just an anomaly. Like there's
Poetic?
a meaning. Go ahead.
Oh, do you think there's a meaning? Not just trying
Yeah. But it doesn't change the meaning of the word. It's like a subtle grammatical difference.
It's like a poetic thing. Yes, maybe just for variety.
I don't know why it would. Like it would sound just as rhymey without it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, but also because it's exactly as in Arabic. Like it's exactly the same pattern.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, this is awesome stuff. And did we go over this? Well, it doesn't matter. We don't have time. Okay. So I'm gonna bye-bye.
You're gonna bye-bye.
I'd like to invite you to visit my website at www.hebrewmime.com. That's HEBREWMAYIM.com. And you can click on the button to sign up for free Hebrew lessons to your email, delivered every week or so. Sometimes I miss a week. Sometimes I'll send more than one email for that week. So again, just visit my website, HebrewMime.com. And I also have special sections here. Not only can you sign up for free Hebrew lessons to your email, but you can also get my playlist to learn the Aleph Bet, even Aleph Bet with Elmo. And I also have a section on learning various Jewish prayers and blessings. I also have you can see all of the Hebrew lessons from Genesis to Deuteronomy. And what else? Oh, I have a section on ancient Hebrew. Learn how to pronounce the Hebrew letters in the ancient Hebrew pronunciation, the ancient Hebrew tongue. I have some lessons on how to trope or chant the Torah, specifically lessons for that. And then I also have links to if you're interested in getting more formal biblical Hebrew lessons or modern Hebrew lessons from a good friend in Israel. So you can check that out as well. So just visit my website at HebrewMime.com. Shalom. Shalom, my name is Mayim, and I'm a naturopathic herbalist and holistic life coach, and I'm the founder of the Aruka Holistic Life Academy. Our students learn how to become effective healers using nutrition, herbs, and other holistic healing methods. I have found that to become a holistic healer, you, number one, don't need to be licensed, although some of our students are medical professionals, doctors, nurses, etc., but you don't need a medical degree or a license to become a holistic healer. Number two, you don't need to study for 4 or more years in college. And number three, you don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars for a medical degree or a nutrition degree or any other kind of expensive degree. I don't have any of these things, yet I have built a profitable online health coaching business. And I'll tell you the 8 things, though, that I have found that you do need. Without these 8 things, healers are ineffective and lack confidence in being a holistic healer. And most holistic schools and certification programs don't incorporate all 8 of these secrets, which is why many graduate from them, from nutrition schools or health coaching schools or herbalist schools, etc., feeling inadequate as a healer. So I would like to share with you my secrets on how I became an effective holistic healer and built a profitable online health coaching business. You can become the healer of your home and your community without the need for pharmaceutical drugs with dangerous side effects, hospitals, doctors, or even dentists. You can build a profitable online health coaching business without the need for years of college for an expensive degree. My mission is to show you how. Visit my website at www.aruka.com/free to get my 8 secrets on how to become an effective holistic healer.